Very difficult, very difficult. There's so many different flavors and different flavor profiles in Sri Lankan food. I've got 3 separate tours that run here. One is called the Southern Tour and path where it really is a high-end hotels that we stay in. They're all 4 and 5-star hotels. There are 2 that come to mind straight away, and one of them is on this past tour. We were at Virabilla and we had just finished the cooking class.
Hello everyone. Today we have a very special guest, all the way from Australia. He's an accomplished chef who has been in the hospitality industry for over 3 decades. From working in hotels in Sri Lanka to setting up award-winning cafes and restaurants in Australia, he has come a long journey. So without further ado, let's welcome Pieter. So Pete, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
So we all know how much you love Sri Lankan flavors and spices. Can you tell us your favorite Sri Lankan dish?
Very difficult, very difficult. There's so many different flavors and different flavor profiles in Sri Lankan food. I always say that Sri Lankan food is the greatest undiscovered food in the world. We have so many unique things in our foods over here. The spices that we use are so very different to a lot of other countries that use more pungent spices. We use sweeter spices. Curries are more fragrant. Sambols are a lot fresher. The lime juice in the sambols just makes it buzz and zing. If I have a favorite food, it is coconut roti, chicken curry, and pol sambal. I always have coconut sambal in my fridge at home. I always make some coconut sambal and have it in the fridge. My go-to breakfast in the morning, if I'm running late, is a piece of toast with butter and pol sambal on top of it. You really have to try it. It is absolutely amazing. Have you tried toast with pol sambal on it?
Yes, obviously. It's
How good is it?
11 out of 10.
I know. It's just amazing. And yeah, this is why I keep coming back to Sri Lanka and bringing people from overseas over here to show them mainly the food and the history and the culture of this place. This island is like no other island on earth. We have got such unique things over here that make this uniquely Sri Lankan. You can travel to a lot of other places, and as Arthur C. Clarke said, Sri Lanka is a small universe. Everything that you want is right here in condensed form. You don't have to travel long distances to get from places to places. You don't have to travel long distances to get different weather patterns as well. In 4 hours, you can go from 40 degrees and 98% humidity to 23 degrees up in the hills and cool in the evening. So it really is a unique place, and the food of this place also a very, very special place in my heart. So I'm trying to push it as much as I can.
So how did your passion for culinary influence your move to Australia?
I moved to Australia in 1984, I think it was, just after the war started here. And for many years, I live outside of the city. Down south of the city, there's a lot of Sri Lankan people, but where I live, north of the divide, I've always been, I think I'm still the only Sri Lankan person in the area that I live in. But it's been really good because I can talk to people about Sri Lanka. And with what I do, I also have a food production business, and I trade at farmers markets. So I get to talk to people all the time about food. And I'm always pushing Sri Lankan food and telling them that this is something that they really need to experience. The good thing about bringing people over here and doing something like this, where we teach them, these are not demonstrations, these are hands-on cooking classes. When I go back to Australia, I get photos from people who've been here, who've made string hoppers and made curries, and they send me the photographs of the things that they've made. So they're not just coming here to do it here, they go back home and they're continuing the tradition. They're having dinner parties with their friends and cooking Sri Lankan food. So in a very small way, I'm trying to push that Sri Lankan food further and further. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. So tell us, what inspired you to start Pete's Traveling Pan?
I started coming back to Sri Lanka in 2012 after selling my head restaurants and cafes and wine centers over there. And when I did that, I wanted to come back here, and I came over with my two daughters to start with. And while I was here, I had a little thought in my head that I'd like to do tours here. I went back, did some research, and no one was doing food tours at that time. So I started. I just thought, why not do it? And I started doing it. And it's been slowly building since then. Of course, COVID had a big impact on the business, like everybody else's businesses. But business is growing, and this year I've got 3 tours. This year I've got another one up north in September and October. So I'm rolling along. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
One thing you highlighted the most throughout our conversation was your Sri Lankan tours. So can you tell us more about these tours? Because it's really interesting and exciting to know.
I'd love to. I've got 3 separate tours that run here. One is called the Southern Tour, and path where most Sri Lanka, we start off in Negombo, we go up to the Cultural Triangle, we do Dumbulda Caves and Sigiriya and Polonnaruwa, and we come down to Kandy, stopping at Martale. We do the Spice Garden over there. In Kandy, we do the Dalada Maligava, where we take a little walk around the lake, we walk around the town, we do the market and the botanical gardens, and we also do the Kandyan dances. So it covers all of those things that people want to do in Kandy. From Kandy, we go up into the hills, into Norelia. From Norelia, we go down to Virovilla, and we stay in little glamping tents, which is absolutely beautiful place down by the Virovilla Lake. If you haven't been there, you really need to go there. Lovely place. And from there we go to Galle and stay at the lighthouse in Galle, one of my favorite places. And from there it's to Colombo and home. The next tour is the Northern Tour, and it goes the top half of Sri Lanka. We sort of travel along the coast. We visit a lot of the places along the coast, eating lots of seafood, staying in some very fine hotels, and all the way up to Jaffna. We do the Jaffna Peninsula and then come back down the east coast and go across Sri Lanka to Kandy, stay at Mahavili Reach again. Incidentally, Mahavili Reach was the very first place that I started working. I started my career there, and Jayanta Panaboke over there really taught me everything that I knew, and I'm very grateful to him for that. And we from Kandy we go to Negombo, and then Negombo they fly back home again. So they're 2 very different tours. And then we've got a Flavors of Ceylon tour as well, which is very much like the Southern Tour, but there's a few extra cooking classes and a few more foodie things involved in that too. So it really is a blend of history, culture, and the food of the country. And the best way to find out about a country is through its food. Everywhere you go, you try the local food, and you get a glimpse of what the country is like. And I'm a very firm believer of that.
So from what you said before, it sounds like a luxurious tour. So can you tell me more about the cooking sessions, what happens there, what kind of food people learn, and all that stuff?
Yep, can do. It really is a high-end hotels that we stay in. They're all 4 and 5-star hotels. Cooking classes generally we set up in the gardens of hotels. We cook things like hoppers, string hoppers, pittu, rotis. We do different curries. We make sambals, we make pickles, we make chutneys, we make different types of rices. We tend to cover all of the food that Sri Lanka is famous for, so that when people go home, they haven't just eaten the food of Sri Lanka, they know how to make it. And that's why most people, when they go home, they take those skills with them. They get recipes for all the food that they do. They take those skills home with them. They cook for their friends, which is marvelous. It's very much hands-on. We do all of the prep for them because we don't want to have 6-hour cooking classes. we want to try and keep it to about 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Together with the hotel chefs, we do all of the prep, and we have all of the prep laid out. We'll have people making each individual dish for that particular class. And when that's finished, we have a table set up. We might have a nice cold beer or a glass of wine or something like that, and eat the food that we cooked. It really is a perfect way to finish off the cooking class, because it's the complete cycle. We've gone to the markets, we've seen the raw ingredients, we've used the raw ingredients to cook the product, and then we've eaten the product. So the cycle is sort of complete. I prefer doing it that way than just demonstrating how I cook it for people, because they're not getting their hands in. And as you know, when you cook, you get your hands into things, and when you get your hands into things, you actually feel that food.
And that's how you learn.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are how the classes run. Southern tour has got 3 cooking classes. The northern tour has got 3 cooking classes, including northern Jaffna style food. So we make Jaffna crab curries and things like that. And we're also some of the Muslim influences into the cuisine, which is like a chicken biryani. We make chicken biryani as well. So they learn to do all of these things. And on the Tastes of Ceylon tour, we've got 4 cooking classes. So yeah,
Great.
That's how it works.
Great. From all of the tours combined, what was the most memorable experience?
There are 2 that come to mind straight away, and one of them is on this past tour. We were at Virabilla, and we had just finished the cooking class, and we were sitting by the lake. It was a beautiful evening, and from the corner of my eye, I saw a little flicker of light, and it was fireflies. And I hadn't seen the fireflies since I was a kid that high. I had never seen fireflies. I've been back here several times to Sri Lanka and just not seen fireflies. And it was one of those magical moments when everything was dark around you. The lake was very still, very flat, and from this bush came out all these fireflies flying around us. And it was totally magical. I didn't want to spoil the moment by taking a photograph or trying to record it. I just wanted to sit there and watch this happen. That was absolutely magical. And another one really was in Gaul, on the dock in Gaul, when I've traced my history back to 1768, when my ancestor stepped off the boat in Gaul, and just being there after I had found out that this man stepped off on that spot, just standing on that same spot that he got off the boat from, was quite an emotional time for me. So that's also a very special time for me.
Okay, that's great. The more I get to know about these tours, the more excited I am. So tell me, when can we expect another tour, and how can we be a part of it?
My next tour is on the 21st of September this year. Starts on the 21st and finishes on the 6th of October. Then that's the northern tour. I've got a few spots left on that tour. So if you want to be involved, just hop on my website, fill out the booking form, or you can contact me. All my contact details are on my website as well. Just contact me and I can give you all the information. The best way to experience a country is to actually be there. So, yeah.
With that said, thank you so much, Pieter, for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being here, and it's always nice to talk about Sri Lanka and about what I do. I'm very passionate about doing this. The people that have come so far have been very happy with what I do, so I'm hoping that I can keep it going for a while yet.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
If you guys want to know more about these tours, check out the links in the description below. See you guys next time.